All right, Mountaineer fans, you might want to ride this one for a while because it's not going to get any easier from here. West Virginia beats Mississippi Valley State 86-51. We're going to have you covered in this game recap episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. All right, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is episode 117 of Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. Again, this is a game recap episode of the Mountaineer victory to get win number 9 on the season to close out the 2025 calendar year, getting to win number 9, 9-4, last game of the non-conference slate against a really, really bad team. And West Virginia, this trend, if you've been here on Mountaineer Moment, if you followed West Virginia at all, you could pick this up on your own, pick up this trend, but you're continuing to beat bad teams, and then the teams that are a little better, power conference teams, better talent, better players, better coaches, you're losing those games. But West Virginia had another opportunity. They were off for 9 days. They lost to Ohio State in a double overtime game last Saturday. And then back in action at the Hope Coliseum on Monday night against a 1-11, now 1-12 Mississippi Valley State team. And it's just another win, a dominant performance as it should be, as to be expected, against a really bad team. So this is episode 117. We're going to have you covered with a few different things here on this episode. We're going to talk about that road ahead for West Virginia because, again, it does not get any easier. So you need to enjoy this one, I guess, if you could say it like that, because it was... you knew you were going to win, and there's not a game remaining on the West Virginia schedule that you're like, I know we're going to win that. In fact, there's some games you're like, I think we're probably going to lose those and those and those. And, the Big 12 slate is now officially here, and you got your work cut out for you. You did not do yourself any favors in the non-conference. Like we said it on the last episode. We've said it probably even more than that. But in the non-conference, you have not done yourself any favors because you have not won a game against a quality team. Quad 1, quad 2, whatever, however you want to break all of that down. West Virginia's got 9 wins against 9 bad teams. It's just the reality of it. If not, I don't even remember, if not all of them, most of them have a losing record. Maybe all but one or something like that. And Pitt is like 7-6. Maybe they're the one. But you have 4 losses to 4 unranked teams that are, better than the teams that you've beaten, obviously, but it's just this trend that they've been on, and now that cycle is over because you don't have any more handouts. You don't have any more freebies. You're sitting at 9-4. You're heading to Hilton Coliseum for a matchup with the 3rd-ranked Iowa State Cyclones on January 2nd to open up conference play. So we'll get to that. That conversation toward the end of the episode, but man, oh man, it's here, ready or not. And again, I don't think there's anything that shows us that this West Virginia team is ready because the trend has just been beat up on bad teams and lose to other teams. That's just the reality of it. We'll give some more on that. I'll get on my soapbox even more later on, but we'll talk about this game for what it was, as an individual game for the Mountaineers and Mississippi Valley State. Some takeaways from it. Immediate reaction here on Mountaineer Moment. And, again, just another win against a bad team. Mississippi Valley State, we said it in the game preview episode if you were here, their lone win on the season. They've been beaten up by some not good teams. They've been beaten up on by some good teams. But their lone win comes against a school named Mississippi University for Women. That's right. The Division III school that does have a men's basketball program. Whenever it was founded, I guess it was not for men. I don't know. Mississippi University for Women. That's their lone win on the season, 97-61. Other than that, blowout losses all over the place. UAB blew them out. Texas A&M blew them out. Kansas State, Florida State, who they just played. They're hitting the road against Oklahoma for a matchup next Monday after Christmas. So, they've played some good teams, and they've lost in some major ways. But another win. Win number 9. Again, it was the last game on the season where you're like, all right, that's another win as you head into it. Now we don't know. Now we simply do not know. as far as just reacting to this one immediately, because again, it just went final. Couple things, that stand out box score wise. Trayson Eaglestaff, not just box score wise, but the way he played. He's had 3 20-plus point games this season, and 2 of the last 3 games he's gone for over 20. Tonight, against Mississippi Valley, he had 23 points. He led the team in shot attempts. He knocked down 4 out of 10 from 3, 9 of 16 from the floor to go along with 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Like, he was just really, really good, really aggressive. There was a sequence in the second half when Honor Huff found him in the corner or fading away toward the corner for a 3. He shot it with so much confidence. Everybody in the gym, it seemed like, knew it was going in. And then he followed that up with a nice drive, and he had a couple assists, couple nice passes. One, I think, was to Obi Oha low. But Eaglestaff, 4 out of 10 from 3, but, he had 6 shot attempts come from inside the arc, and a lot of that was him head down going to the rim, which is very, very encouraging. We have not seen a lot of that this year. I think he had a mid-range jumper that, just off the bounce, he took and said, I'm going to take this. And he just, this was the most confident Eaglestaff we've seen so far this season. There have been glimmers of it, or glimpses of it, I should say, so far this season, where it's like, okay, he looks like he's playing with a little bit more confidence, but this is as confident of an Eaglestaff that we've seen in 33 minutes against Mississippi Valley State. Obviously, the challenge and the hope with all of these things that we are talking about here on Mountaineer Moment on this episode is moving it forward, because you're going to Big 12 play. Can Eaglestaff come out against Iowa State or against whoever on your schedule? And I'm not saying give you 23 a night, but can he be a reliable scorer for you? Because that's going to open up a whole lot of things. If we look at Eaglestaff just over the last few games, to give you a little more context on that, he had 0 against Wake in 10 minutes. Chance Moore took a lot of his playing time there. Chance Moore did not play in this game. We'll get to that in a moment. He had 23 points against Little Rock, 5 points on 1 of 9 shooting against Ohio State in that double overtime game in 23 minutes, right? That's not cutting it. Even if you count Pitt, so the 4 losses and Pitt, he had 3 points against Pitt in 26 minutes. He had 5 points against Clemson in that loss. He had 20 points in that loss to Xavier, which was his best game, to that point by far. 0 of 5 from 3, though, 8 of 15 from the floor. And then, again, 0 against Wake and 5 against Ohio State. So, of those 5 games, he only had 1 that was good. And that came against Xavier on an 8 of 15 performance for 20 points in 30 minutes played. So, Trayson Eaglestaff, 23 points against Mississippi Valley State in a season high as well in minutes in 33 minutes, and 16 shot attempts was a season high for him as well. 10 three-point attempts, tied the most that he had in a game, this season, to go along with that matchup against Little Rock when he had 23 just a couple weeks ago. So, encouraging stuff from Eaglestaff. You got to move it forward, because, again, even if you get, and it's not like we expected Eaglestaff to come in here and get you 20 a game or get you 18 a game, like 19 a game, like you averaged last season. But you brought him here to score. And there's a good chance that you brought him here to score to be a pretty consistent double-figure scorer for you. And as we just mentioned, in all 3 out of the 4 losses you had, he had 5, 5, and 0. Simply not going to cut it. And can you imagine, right? I mean, we said it on the last episode. This West Virginia team hasn't helped themselves. They've hurt themselves. And it's been big second halves by the opponents that you've played offensively. But, if Eaglestaff doesn't go 1 for 9 against Ohio State and makes a couple shots, that game don't go to overtime, West Virginia wins. And I get you could say that for anybody on either roster. Eaglestaff, nothing against Wake Forest. If he does anything, if he's a serviceable threat on the floor, that game could change. Make a couple more shots against Clemson, that game could change. Right? There's things out there that you're like, wow. And that kept West Virginia from winning, and I don't want to continue to harp on Eaglestaff, but it's a need for this team. You've seen it. Honor Huff, sometimes it looks like he's the only option offensively. you need Trayson Eaglestaff first and foremost, or just more so than even some of these other guys on the team. You need him to be a scoring threat for you, and you had that tonight against a bad team. You need it moving forward, game in and game out in the Big 12. All right, so led by 23 from Eaglestaff. A couple other starters in double figures. Obioha, good for him. Double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds on 5 of 6 from the floor. Honor Huff, 13 points, 4 of 10 from 3. Belo and Jasper Floyd. Belo had 8, and Jasper had 6 to go along with 2 assists. Belo had 8, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Off the bench, DJ Thomas had a nice showing in 20 minutes with 11 points. Jackson Fields, 3 points and 5 boards, had a real nice block at the end of the game. Amir Jenkins in double figures again, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists for the freshman. Morris Ugasuk, 10 minutes, 0 points, 0 of 2 from the floor for him. So that's a look at the box score. And again, sort of just immediate reaction. Well, Trayson Eaglestaff sticks out. Amir Jenkins, did some really good things in this one too. And Harlan Obioha with a double-double. That sticks out, of course. Now, Chance Moore. I don't know. I mean, Ross Hodge is probably talking about it right now, post-game, getting asked about it. I haven't, this is literally hit record 30 seconds after the game ended, so I'm not sure what the deal was with Chance Moore. He was suited up, I'm pretty sure. I believe I saw him on the bench. Just did not play in this game. Obviously, that, not to speculate, but to speculate, right? That could be a few different things. Could be a lingering injury. Could be something's bothering him. He might be a little under the weather. He might be, might be a disciplinary thing. Who knows? But he did not play in this one. Obviously, West Virginia did not need him to play in order to knock off Mississippi Valley State. As far as just a few takeaways are concerned, we said it in the preview episode for this game. You got to do some things that you can move forward to Big 12 play, right? I'm not saying you're going to move forward a 35-point win against any team in the Big 12, but there's some elements of the game that you can work on. These are opportunities to work on getting better as you head into conference play, and this is your last opportunity against a non-conference opponent where you can gear up for Big 12 play because it's here. West Virginia did come out the gate struggling a little bit against the zone. This team played a lot of zone against West Virginia, which West Virginia hadn't seen this year, and you could tell. Obviously, West Virginia got better as the game progressed. Ended up taking a 20-point lead in the halftime, and then put up 44 points in the second half, and so things started to click. But it was I could look real quick. It was a 1-point game halfway through the first half or something like that after a 7-0 start. West Virginia was up 11-10 with just about 11 minutes left. 11-10 ball game for West Virginia. Then they went on a little bit of a run and turned into a lot of bit of a run, 34-16, and then again 42-22 at the half. But the zone gave them fits for a little minute there before they figured things out. Hopefully, again, that's a learning curve. Hopefully, that's something that even though it's going to be against stiffer competition moving forward, if you see zone, you got the jitters out a little bit on your home court against Mississippi Valley State. Another just couple of takeaways or points to address, here from this one against a bad Mississippi Valley State team. Obviously, a 35-point win is good. Mississippi Valley State didn't turn the ball over. We mentioned they were, number one in the SWAC conference in turnovers as far as, they commit a lot of turnovers. They only had 9 in this one. West Virginia had some turnovers early. Again, the zone was part of that issue. They only finished with 6 turnovers, did the Mountaineers, which is really, really, really good. But only 9 turnovers from Mississippi Valley State, and that's well below their season average. You held them to just 1 of 9 from 3. They did not shoot a whole lot of them. 12 of 27 from 3 for West Virginia. So really big difference behind the 3-point line. In fact, that is just about the difference, right? You scored 33 more points from beyond the 3-point line, and you won this game by 35. So you do the math there. Say what you will about this Mississippi Valley State team, but they can shoot the free throws. They knocked down all 14 of their free throw attempts in this one. West Virginia did well here. 14 out of 18 shot at 54% on the night from the floor compared to 34% from Mississippi Valley State. Almost held another team under 50, but Mississippi Valley State does get to 51. And again, it's onward from here. So we're closing the book on the non-conference as we close out this episode. Just addressing this elephant in the room. West Virginia is on to Iowa State, January 2nd, 9 o'clock. First true road game for West Virginia comes in the first game of the calendar year 2026, and it comes at a tough place against one of the top teams, undefeated Iowa State Cyclones, one of the best teams in the country, ranked third in the nation. They don't play again until they play Houston Christian, another tune-up game for them on the 29th. And then they face these Mountaineers who are coming to town. So Iowa State will likely be undefeated in this game and ranked inside the top 3 when they play West Virginia. We will obviously cover that one as it gets closer. But that is as tough a test as it gets. 1, because it's one of the best teams in the country. 2, because you're playing on the road for the first time this season. 3, because you're playing on the road for the first time this season against one of the premier arenas to play in. One of the premier home court advantages in all of college basketball is what Iowa State has, and they obviously have a really, really good thing going for them so far this season at Hilton Coliseum, and a really, really good team who beat number 1 Purdue when they were ranked number 1, 81-58 earlier this season. So, going to be a tough test. But the reality is, whether it's Iowa State or Houston or Arizona, who's ranked number 1 in the nation right now, or Kansas or Texas Tech, who just knocked off Duke right at the Garden, there's no handouts the rest of the way. These are all going to be tough games throughout the Big 12. We're used to it as Mountaineer fans. We know how good this conference is, but are these players ready for that? This is a whole new roster, a whole new coaching staff, whole new gauntlet for them to face as they enter into that. And I'm not sitting here saying that West Virginia is not going to win a single conference game, or they're only going to win 2 or 3 or 4. I don't know how many they're going to win, but it's going to be hard. You're going to have games this season, in Big 12 play where you lose, and you might lose bad. Just the reality of it. So it's here. It's arrived. And the road ahead for West Virginia, it starts at Iowa State. Then you're home for the next 2 against Cincinnati and Kansas on January 6th and January 10th. Then you're back on the road against Houston on January 13th. So, in your first 4 games, you got 3 ranked teams, 3 teams ranked inside the top 8 in Iowa State, and Houston, Kansas sitting at 17. And then later on in January, nothing much, but a road trip to number 1 Arizona on the 24th. So over the span of 3 weeks, you got Iowa State, Kansas, Houston, and Arizona. 3 of those games being on the road, with Cincinnati, Colorado, and Arizona State sprinkled in between. That is a gauntlet, my friends. And so if you're not ready for that, it's not going to be good. That's tough. That is a tough road ahead. Games don't get any easier. They're only going to get harder as you just grind through this Big 12 season. What's it going to look like for West Virginia? We do not know yet. But the calendar turns to January here in just a few days. Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year to you as well. We'll have a couple more episodes, I'm sure, coming your way. Just talking about where this basketball team is right now as you turn the page to January. Obviously, again, the preview episode of that game at Hilton Coliseum for the Big 12 debut for Ross Hodge and the Mountaineers. We'll have you covered there. Preview and post-game coverage for that one. Again, maybe some more content coming your way between now and then over Christmas and as we transition to the new year. So be on the lookout for that. Hit that subscribe button for us, whatever platform you're on, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Let's go Mountaineers.